Assalamu alaikum students, welcome to the lecture number 38 for the subject of operating systems. In the previous lecture we discussed some different security threats including network attacks and computer viruses. So in this lecture we are going to discuss that how we can counter these problems in order to be secure. So here are the objectives of this lecture. First of all, we will discuss cryptography, then we will discuss how users authentication works, then we will discuss the implementation of security defenses and firewall to protect a computer system against threats. Now first of all, we have cryptography as a security tool. Now cryptography is a broader security tool that is currently available. Now what does cryptography means? Cryptography means to convert a plain text or a message into a secret code. So whenever a message is converted into a secret code, any person sitting in the middle or any attacker cannot judge what is the message all about. So whenever the message reaches the receiver again converts the secret message into original message. This is the basic idea behind cryptography. So this is the main mechanism that is internal to different computer software where source and destination can read the original messages. So the messages are protected. Operating system can manage this. Different software can manage this. Different communication ports can manage this. So whenever there are exchange of messages between sender and receiver across a network without cryptography, messages cannot be simply trusted. Whether you are using a local network or you are using wide area network, you will need to use cryptography so that your messages and information that you are sending or receiving is completely secure. Now, cryptography constrains potential senders and receivers of the messages. Now, what is the constraint? The constraint is the secret message. Whenever the source is sending the message is converted into the secret text, and this secret text is transmitted over the network, and whenever receiver receives the message, the secret message is again converted into the original message. So how does this work? It is based on secrets, and these secrets are basically keys, or you can say that the algorithms or the mechanisms used for converting original message into secret message and vice versa. Now cryptography enables the confirmation of the source, enables the receipt of the message on a certain destination, and develops a trust relationship between the sender and receiver as the messages are completely secure. There are two further things that are involved in cryptography. The first one is encryption and the second one is decryption. Now what is encryption? Now in encryption, the original message is converted into a secret message. This is simply encryption or encoding. We have a set of keys, we have a set of messages, and we have a set of ciphertext. Now what is ciphertext? Ciphertext is the secret text or the encrypted message that is obtained by converting the original message into secret message. Now what is encryption? Encryption is a function or a transformation that uses the key mechanism to convert original message into a ciphertext. So you can say that for each key that belongs to a set of keys, there is a function that generates ciphertext on the messages. Now both this function and the transformation should be efficiently computable so that the message can be reconverted. Now we have another definition, that is decryption. A decryption is a function D that uses a key to convert the ciphertext into original message. So for example, you can say that for each key there exists a function dk or decryption that generates original messages from the ciphertext. But both d and dk, both the function d and the dk should be efficiently computable. Now, what are the properties of an encryption algorithm? The first property is that if you have a ciphertext C that belongs to set of ciphertext, a computer can communicate M such that the function based on M is equal to C only if it possesses K. और यू कैन से दैट कि एक साइफर टेक्स्ट को आप हमेशा तभी किसी ओरिजिनल मैसेज में चेंज कर सकेंगे, या किसी ओरिजिनल मैसेज को आप तभी किसी साइफर टेक्स्ट सी में चेंज कर सकेंगे जब आपके पास एक फंक्शन होगा इनक्रिप्शन और एक आपके पास की होगी. Thus a computer holding a key can decrypt the ciphertext into plain text. So यहाँ से आइडिया क्लियर हो गया कि सेंडर के पास भी की का होना ज़रूरी है और रिसीवर के पास भी की का होना ज़रूरी है. सेंडर की को यूज़ करके इनक्रिप्ट करेगा और रिसीवर की को यूज़ करके decrypt करेगा. So whenever a computer that doesn't have the key, it cannot simply decrypt the ciphertext. So consider man in the middle or an attacker that is sitting on a remote computer having no key. Then even if your message is transmitted there or even if your message is cracked, what he can do with the message? He don't have key, so he cannot convert the ciphertext into the original message. However, some ciphertexts are generally exposed, so it is important that it is infeasible to derive key from ciphertext. यानी आपने यहाँ पर ये बात ध्यान में रखनी है कि साइफर टेक्स्ट को देख के हम की नहीं फाइंड आउट कर सकते. हम साइफर टेक्स्ट को देख के अंदाज़ा लगा लें कि इसकी की क्या होगी. Now we have two types of encryption. The first one is symmetric encryption. In symmetric encryption, same key is used for both encryption and decryption. So the key is same. So both sender and receiver have to keep the key secret. So the first algorithm was DES. So DES was the most commonly used symmetric block encryption algorithm created by US government. It encrypted a block of data at a time. Now the keys are too short, so shorter keys are less secure as compared to longer keys. Then we have a triple DES that is more secure. In this, 2 or 3 keys are used and algorithm is used repeatedly. In 2001, NIST adopted new block cipher that is known as Advanced Encryption Standard AES. It has longer keys, 128 bits, 192 bits and 256 bits, so it is difficult to crack. Similarly, RC4 is most common symmetric stream cipher but known to have vulnerabilities. So this is the symmetric encryption. Here is a sender. Now sender writes the message. So after writing the message, we have plain text. At the sender side, we use the encryption algorithm that uses a key to convert the message into secret format. Now this message is converted into ciphertext and this ciphertext is sent on a network. Similarly, at the destination, the receiver needs a key. Now this key is exchanged between or is shared between the both sender and receiver and is perfectly private, so the attacker doesn't know this key. So the receiver uses this key to decrypt the ciphertext into plain text so that it can read the message. So अगर अटैकर मिडल में है अभी, क्योंकि उसके पास की ही नहीं है, की एक्सचेंज नहीं की, तो वो मैसेज को ओपन अप भी नहीं कर सकता. Now we have asymmetric encryption. Asymmetric encryption is also known as public key encryption. In this type of encryption, 2 keys are used. First one is the public key. Public key is used to encrypt the data and private key is used to decrypt the data, but private key is the key that is only known to the individual or a user that needs to decrypt data. यानी एसिमेट्रिक इनक्रिप्शन में इनक्रिप्ट करने के लिए तो पब्लिक की यूज़ होगी, लेकिन डीक्रिप्ट करने के लिए हर रिसीवर के पास अपनी एक स्पेसिफिक सीक्रेट की होगी जिसको वो यूज़ करेगा. So the most common is the RSA block cipher in this category. Symmetric cryptography is based on transformations like substitution or replacements, while asymmetric encryption is based on mathematical functions, so which requires a certain amount of computation and it is in fact difficult to guess. Now we have another topic, that is authentication. Now authentication constrains set of potential senders of a message, or in other words you can say that authentication defines whether the sender of the message is legitimate or not. So it is complementary to encryption because it verifies the identity of a sender. So it can also prove whether the message is original or if it has been modified. Now authentication also uses algorithms. We have a set of keys, we have a set of messages, and we have a set of authenticators. Now we have a function S that uses a key to convert to indicate that a message is authenticated by a sender A. And similarly we have a function V, verification, that identifies at the receiver side that messages are sent by valid authenticators. Now for a message M, a computer can generate an authenticator A such that verification of a message on the base of authenticator is true only if there exists a key K. So key is critical factor here that is used to authenticate a person. So computer holding a key K can generate authenticators on messages so that any other computer possessing K key can verify them. So whenever there is no key present, you cannot simply verify the authentication message. So if a message comes with a key value that is not in your database, you can simply say that the message has been modified by an unauthorized person. So in other words, computers not holding any key cannot generate authenticators on messages so that they can be verified. Now for authentication, hash functions are used. Hash function creates a small fixed size block of data message that is called hash value for a message M. Now hash function must be collision resistant, or in other words you can say that a hash function, when it is applied on a message or a complement of a message or a transformation of a message, both of these are actually same, but the transformed message or simple message are not simply equal. So whenever this happens, you can arrive at the decision that message has not been modified. So commonly MD5 hash function or MD5 encryption is used, that uses 128-bit hash. Similarly SH1A1 is also used, which outputs 160-bit hash. So these are very common hash functions used nowadays. Another method for authentication is MAC, that is message authentication code. Now symmetric encryption used in message authentication code uses an authentication algorithm. It adds cryptographic checksums to generate from messages using secret key. So these keys can be used to authenticate these messages. Now we have digital signatures. Digital signatures are based on asymmetric keys and digital signature algorithm. So authenticators produced are digital signatures, or in other words you can say that digital signature is a mechanism that is used to identify a person digitally. So it is very useful, as in this word anyone can verify authenticity of a message using the digital signature. So in digital signature we have a V function, that is a one-way function. We have two keys, one is KV, that is public key, and one is KS, that is private key. Now consider the RSA digital signature algorithm. It is similar to RSA encryption algorithm, but the key used is reversed. Now why authentication is a subset of encryption? In authentication we need fewer computation. Similarly authentications identify the user, so these are much shorter than messages. Our messages can be longer, messages can be in different formats like text, video and audio, but authenticator is simply a user, so it is easier to verify authenticator. You need less computation and less computing power. Now there is another method that is known as digital certificates. Now digital certificate provides a proof of who or what owns a public key. Now a public key is digitally signed by a trusted party. Trusted party receives proof of identification from entity and certificates that public key belongs to the entity. Now we have a certificate authority. Certificate authority are trusted parties. Their public key is included with web browser distributions. Now where is the implementation of cryptography? Cryptography can be used at various layers of ISO reference model. जैसे आप लोगों ने कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क सब्जेक्ट्स पढ़ रहे हैं तो उसमें आपने ISO रेफरेंस मॉडल पढ़ा होगा, जिसमें बेसिकली डिफरेंट लेयर्स हैं. सो इन क्रिप्टोग्राफी को आप डिफरेंट लेयर्स पर अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. जैसे SSL जो है वो इम्पॉर्टेंट एप्लीकेशन है क्रिप्टोग्राफी की, जिसको ट्रांसपोर्ट लेयर पर यूज़ करते हैं. सिमिलरली नेटवर्क लेयर पर हम IPS यानी IP सिक्योर यूज़ कर सकते हैं. की एक्सचेंज के लिए IKE यूज़ कर सकते हैं, जो कि बेसिकली वर्चुअल प्राइवेट नेटवर्क का पार्ट है. सो क्रिप्टोग्राफी को हम डिफरेंट लेवल्स पर यूज़ कर सकते हैं. नाउ व्हाट इज़ SSL? SSL stands for Secure Socket Layer or TLS. Initially we had simple HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Hypertext Transfer Protocol is used for exchange of messages between the web browser and the web server. But when you are to conduct financial transactions or e-commerce transaction on the internet, you need to be secure. For this, SSL was combined into the HTTP. So we got a new protocol that is known as Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. So which is a cryptographic protocol that limits two computers to only exchange messages with each other in a secure way. So it is very complicated. It is commonly used between the web servers and browsers for secure communication, just like I have discussed for credit cards, and you name it with HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. That is a combination of HTTP plus SSL. Now the server is verified with a certificate or a digital certificate, assuring client is talking to the correct server. Similarly, asymmetric cryptography used to establish a secure session key for bulk of communication during the session. Communication between each computer then uses the symmetric key cryptography. Similarly, in operating systems, identifying the user is crucial. in order to protect the system. For this, user identities are used. So we create users with different identities and passwords. So operating system जो है इस identity and password के through identify करता है कि actually ये user legitimate है या legitimate नहीं है. So password must be kept secret. It should be frequently changed. It should not be based on history. It should not be based on your mobile phone number or your date of birth or your name, that or the things that can be commonly guessed. And it should be long. Passwords may also either be encrypted or allowed to be used only once. That are known as one-time passwords. So these can solve the problem of sniffing and shoulder surfing. Now what is shoulder surfing? When you are logging in your computer and someone is right behind you and seeing your keyboard, that what actually are you typing. So passwords are guessable when there are keyloggers in your system. So passwords are basically used to encrypt to avoid having to keep secret. अगर आप पासवर्ड को इनक्रिप्ट कर दें तो आप इनको सीक्रेट ना भी रखें तो कोई इशू नहीं. But it is always good to keep these secret. Now the encryption uses an algorithm that computes the password, but its inversion is difficult. तो अगर आप ये CMS की बात करें, वर्डप्रेस की बात करें या किसी कस्टम CMS की बात करें, तो बेसिकली ये पासवर्ड्स को इनक्रिप्ट करके स्टोर करते हैं डेटाबेस में ताकि कोई भी पर्सन उसको ओपन करके उस पासवर्ड को देख ना सके. सो ओनली इनक्रिप्टेड पासवर्ड आर स्टोर्ड एंड पासवर्ड्स आर नेवर डिस्क्रिप्टेड. एक्चुअली क्या होता है कि जब आप फर्स्ट टाइम अपना अकाउंट बनाते हैं आपका पासवर्ड इनक्रिप्ट करके स्टोर कर दिया जाता है. जब आप दोबारा से पासवर्ड देते हैं आपका पासवर्ड दोबारा इनक्रिप्ट किया जाता है और दोनों वैल्यूज़ को मैच किया जाता है. सो अगर वैल्यू सेम है तो आपको ऑथेंटिकेट कर दिया जाता है, अगर सेम नहीं है तो ऑथेंटिकेट नहीं किया जाता. लेकिन किसी भी सूरत में पासवर्ड को डीक्रिप्ट नहीं किया जाता. इन सर्टन सर्कमस्टांसेस ए वैल्यू नोन एज सॉल्ट इज़ आल्सो एडेड to increase the complexity of encryption. Then we have one-time passwords or OTP uses a function based on a seed to compute a password for both user and computer. Hardware device or a calculator or a key fob generates the password and it changes very frequently. So it is used only once. Then we have biometrics that uses physical attributes like fingerprint, hand scan or signature. We can also have a multi-factor authentication. जैसे आप Gmail पर पासवर्ड से लॉगिन करते हैं और साथ ही आपको एक कोड रिसीव हो जाता है आपके मोबाइल नंबर पे. So this is multi-factor authentication. Similarly, this can be applied to operating systems as well. Now, implementing security defenses. Defense in depth is most common security theory that is based on multiple layers of security. Then we have security policies that describe which things are being secured and how different things are being secured. Then we have a discipline of white hat cyber security that identifies different vulnerabilities in your system to find out the loopholes so that you can take care of these loopholes to avoid any problem. Then we have intrusion detection software that can detect attempted or successful intrusions. Now we can have signature based detection that can spot uneven patterns or bad patterns or uncommon patterns. Similarly, we can have anomaly detection that can find out whether a data has been changed or not. We can have virus protection mechanism that can scan all programs and all files to find out whether they contain virus or not. So we can run the system in a sandbox mode so that it cannot be damaged. Similarly, we have auditing and accounting purpose or logging. We can use these services to find out who accessed the computer, for how much time the computer was accessed. It also contain a detailed log that defines which files were opened, which programs were opened. We can use these two. So we can also practice safe computing to avoid any infections, just like browsing good sites, having HTTPS, changing your passwords frequently. If your laptop or computer supports biometric, then use biometric authentication as well. So these are good practices for safe computing. Then we have the concept of firewall. Now a firewall can be a software or a hardware which protects the traffic coming towards your computer and traffic going out of your computer. So a network firewall is placed between trusted and untrusted hosts. The firewall limits network access between those two security domains. Can be tunneled or can be spoofed. Now you can have a personal firewall. Personal firewall is a software layer on a given host or on a given computer, और इट कैन मॉनिटर ट्रैफिक और यू कैन ऑल्सो लिमिट द ट्रैफिक. जैसे हम विंडोज़ में फायरवॉल टाइप करते हैं तो ये आपकी पर्सनल फायरवॉल. यहाँ पर आपके पास इनबाउंड रूल्स हैं इनकमिंग ट्रैफिक के लिए, आउटबाउंड रूल्स हैं इन आउटगोइंग ट्रैफिक के लिए. आप यहाँ पर नए रूल्स डिफ़ाइन कर सकते हैं. आप किसी किस्म की ट्रैफिक इनकमिंग को ब्लॉक कर सकते हैं, आउटगोइंग को ब्लॉक कर सकते हैं. सो बेसिकली फेसबुक और व्हाट्सएप की कम्युनिकेशन डिफरेंट यूनिवर्सिटीज़ या इंस्टीट्यूट में ऑफ है, वो भी इसके थ्रू ही सर्वर के थ्रू ऑफ की जाती है. Similarly, you can have application proxy firewall that understands the application protocol and controls them, just like SMTP. Then you can use system call firewall that monitors all important system calls and apply rules to them to see if the calls are made by a trusted user or an untrusted user. Now here is a concept that firewalls can be tunneled or spoofed. Tunneling allows disallowed protocol to travel within allowed protocol, like telnet inside HTTP. So you can define firewall rules, जैसे मैंने आपको इनबाउंड एंड आउटबाउंड रूल्स दिखाए, वो किसी भी कंप्यूटर पर आप डिफ़ाइन कर सकते हैं, किसी पोर्ट पर आप डिफ़ाइन कर सकते हैं, किसी स्पेसिफिक IP एड्रेस पर आप डिफ़ाइन कर सकते हैं, which can be spoofed. So this is basic diagram of firewall. Here is your company computers and here is the internet. So this area is considered unsecure and this area is considered secure. So here is a firewall. So whenever data exchange happens from internet to your computer, it has to pass through the firewall. Similarly, you can configure your firewall to monitor outgoing traffic as well. So this was our brief lecture about the cryptography and the authentication and how security is implemented, how authentication is implemented in modern computing world.